How's it going? And welcome back to the Marvel Snap video. Today I'd like to talk about a metagame shift that's been going on, and that's the prevalence of this guy, Leech. 5 energy, 3 power card. On reveal, remove the abilities of all cards in your opponent's hand. So Leech isn't a new card. It isn't even a card people have been waiting to gain access to. It's a pull 2 card that every Marvel Snap player, by the time they reach collection level 474, is guaranteed to have access in their collection. So, what changed that Leech became popular? Let's run through it real quick. Now, as many of you are aware, every single week Marvel Snap introduces a new location through their featured location system from Tuesday reset to Thursday reset. For a 48-hour window after this new location is added to the game, there is a 40% chance that it appears in your games of Marvel Snap. And last week's featured location was this one, Lamentis. So, destroys both players' decks after each of them draw 3 cards. The powerful effect from this location brought about a metagame shift in that basically everyone that owned the card Death was playing Death in every deck. Even if your deck didn't have anything to destroy anything, Death was essentially free after Lamentis blew up the remaining cards in players' decks, and you were often getting to play this 12 power card for 0, 1, or 2 mana in most of your games. Now, as is often the case in Marvel Snap, it's optimal to save as much of your power as possible to play out until the final turns. This gives you the advantage of deciding where you want to play your biggest threats after you see where your opponent deploys, and it keeps them insulated in the case of death from opposing counterplay like Shang-Chi. In enters this card, Leech. Removing the abilities off of Death removes her cost reduction ability, returning her to a 9 cost card that is literally unplayable since its ability has been removed. Now, the key thing to note about the way this featured location system works is even if your deck has an incredible win rate into the featured location, that location is only showing up 40% of the time. So the rest of your deck still needs to be functional the other 60% of the time when you're just playing normal games of Marvel Snap. What this means is these feature locations really push players to search for cards that not only address the metagame shift that's happening for those 48 hours, but it forces them to experience those new cards in more traditional games of Marvel Snap a good chunk of the time. It's really an ingenious part of this system. As someone who's been vocal and complained about the featured location system in the past, I think this most recent one has completely sold me on them as a concept. While I think there's a good argument that maybe they last a little bit too long, the actual concept of what features location do of creating this centralized metagame, forcing players to dig for tools like Leech that they've forgotten about, and then subsequently realize that these cards are not only reasonable into the feature location, but are probably things you should be playing generically, seems like an awesome tool for the Marvel Snap developers to push their players in directions that they might otherwise be missing with their deck building. Past the feature location, causing people to dig up Leech to counter death, Silver Surfer entered the metagame via the Season Pass. This card is pretty difficult to answer, honestly. It gets played out on the final turn of the game alongside another 3-drop. If you're trying to catch it with Cosmo, it's kind of guesswork as to where your opponent's going to play at, and it requires you to have priority going into the final turn. And Leech is just another naturally eloquent answer to this card that a lot of people have been freaking out about, calling for it to be nerfed less than 24 hours after released. Leech seems to have taken Silver Surfer and pushed it back a little bit as it's rose in prominence, creating a natural predator for the powerful things Silver Surfer is doing inside of the metagame. All in all, watching all of this played out has been a ton of fun. Watching metagames develop and adjust and develop again is one of my favorite parts of playing in card games and approaching the deck building exercise, and feature locations really push that question answer system into these narrow spaces that then, in the case of Leech here, expand to wider application after the fact in a way that I've never seen in another card game before. It definitely makes me appreciate the feature location system more than I did before, and it's fantastic to see a powerful card like Silver Surfer not only enable new archetypes in the game that seem to be competitive, but they also have natural counters to it, meaning that it really didn't need to be nerfed, despite lots of people calling for Silver Surfer to be so less than 24 hours after it released. Now, if you're looking for deck lists to play Leech in yourself, it can go in everything from Lockjaw to disruptive lists. I'd like to shout out a fellow content creator, Dera, who's been absolutely killing it on Twitch and making some YouTube content as well, for putting out this deck list here that they climb to Infinite with on 2 different accounts. I'm also going to go ahead and link their YouTube channel in this video description with their video here of them playing the deck and giving you a deck tech of it. Personally, this type of deck with Leech and Leader isn't my cup of tea, but I wanted to shout out one of the people that helped popularize what is going on in this Leech metagame that we're all currently living and playing in. At any rate, thanks for making it all the way through to the end of the video. This piece of content's a little bit different than a lot of the other stuff I've done on this channel, so I would love feedback in the comments down below if you think this type of analysis and breakdown of what people are doing and playing in Snap is worthwhile and something that I should consider doing again in the future. As always, if you enjoyed any of my analysis, I encourage you to tap that like button to help this video reach more people. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I post Marvel Snap tidbits like this, game news updates, and deck highlights here 7 days a week. I'd love to see you back again sometime too. Enjoy the rest of your day, folks.